What is your biggest high school regret? You aren't too cool for your parents. Your parents are awesome and they love you and they just want the best for you. Fight the instinct to be difficult and antagonistic and learn from them. Their lives are hard too, don't make it harder by hurting their feelings. And if unfortunately that doesn't apply to you for whatever reason, take it upon yourself to be there for someone who needs it. Siblings, friends, the liners in CL, etc. actually, do that anyway. I had a photography CL when I was in high school. The assignments involved taking photos of things that exhibit something we learned in CL. I was lazy back then and only took photos of things around my neighborhood. I live near a city and regret not using this CL as an opportunity to go into the city and take photos there. I realized this mistake years later when I saw my friends' photos, who also had that CL in high school, and I saw a lot of beautiful city photos. Not to let a boyfriend ruin it for me. He slept with 5 girls while we were together and one was actually at school. I dropped out in 9th grade and never went back to high school again. Online school was terrible for someone who needed hands-on help. Edited to add, I also cut myself and he told someone. A girl who was a super yelled across the cafeteria that I should cut a little deeper next time and kill myself. So yeah, people suck. Spending so much time obsessing over not having a relationship. I started probably at 13, so by high school, it was at a fever pitch by the time high school came around. I felt like everyone around me was dating, falling in love, having. In retrospect, I realize how much of that was an exaggeration and outright lying. This obsession led to some pretty ill-advised crushes and infatuations that make cringe so much thinking about it. Didn't get a handle on my mental health. My family finally had health insurance, so it was finally possible as of 10th or 11th grade. But I was ashamed and kept convincing myself it wasn't that bad, because my sister was 5150 level bad and I wasn't. But I wasted a lot of years being untreated. I guess it wasn't exactly high school specific, except I didn't want to let anyone know how ed up I was at that age. I was so concerned with what people thought of me. Not trying at all, I had a good time but didn't study or even really try all that hard. Still P.Ed. Still went to university. Still got my bachelor's. But if I didn't have to build those skills from the ground up because of desperation to graduate university. If I built those skills to study and apply the information I would have saved a lot of heartache. I also spent too much time worrying about how to get. Not taking my personal health seriously at the time when my metabolism was highest. I was at 240 pounds and had never worked out in my life. I spent all my time playing video games and eating pizza rolls and drinking Mountain Dew. During my junior year my brother made me start working out and running. I dropped 60 pounds in a summer. Now it is so difficult to get back to / maintain that level of fitness at 30. I used to sit back and fantasize about going back and doing it all over again. I remember having a great time, tons of friends, etc. Then another memory popped up, and I felt different. I'm remembering things incorrectly, I didn't enjoy myself as much. I think being more present. But that's true in my life now too, I just think about it more. I feel like I let the entire experience just swoop on by, and I felt like a bystander, not a party-ante. I want a party day. Not taking more photos and be involved. Middle school, high school are still relatively very free of consequence and it's better to look back 10 years later and say I did it rather than not having the experience. Also, photos, no, it doesn't have to be selfies and it doesn't have to use duck face or some and it doesn't have to be put to social media. But it's better 10 years later to have a proof that you are here. I regret not trying harder in my CLS and skipping my homework to screw around on the internet all evening and weekend. I got so behind that I came dangerously close to not graduating. Another big regret I have is in my senior year, there was this very sweet, kind, cute and smart freshman girl I was briefly friends with, that had a huge crush on me. I ended up rejecting her for a girl I had a crush on, which, of course, ended up not being worth it. Probably not engaging with CL mates as much if not at all. I just thought I wasn't like them. To be honest, if I was a bit more braver and open, I think I'd have had more fun and enjoyed form time. I did have 2 groups of friends I belonged to. But on reflection, I did feel a bit on the outside in one of them and for the other, well they could be very toxic at times. I liked both of them though for different reasons. 1. Not taking it either more or less seriously. Lots of undue stress for no payoff. 2. Not joining some sort of athletics program. I'd give anything to have joined the golf team and been playing for years with free coaching and the perks of learning while younger. 3. Being afraid of shooting my shot. We all could have had wonderful times in high school if we had just a little bit of confidence. 4. My haircut. That I followed the lead of a few of my friends who were terrible influences instead of my friends who were good influences. I should have quit smoking, gone to tutoring, avoided the kids I knew were doing drugs and other really stupid things. Joined a club. Something positive. But nope, I smoked cigarettes and barely tried to pee my CLS, spent A nights at local punk shows. Barely graduated. I extremely regret being mean to people because I was a part of the cool crowd. I feel very grateful that I was able to have kids and that I can teach them to be kind to everyone no matter what clothes they wear, what color their skin or what language they speak. I'm sorry to anyone that I was ever mean to, and if I were ever to see them on the street again I would tell them that to their face and wouldn't be upset if they didn't accept it. Not getting involved in more clubs/activities. I was kind of one of those people who made fun of people who cared about sports and choir, but I didn't realize that they were all making connections and that I was kind of just friends with the few people around me. I didn't realize how hard making friends would be in the future. It's not lame to care about things, and now I'm the kind of person who loves trying things I've never done. Not taking it serious. Got caught with 10 dime bags. Expelled. Fast forward 15 years later to a job interview where I had to submit high school transcripts. Freshman year of D's and F's and a GED certificate. It was embarrassing. I got the job, but I had been through this a few times before. Every time I cringed at the person I was in high school. Work hard in HS and you can go to college for free or much cheaper than someone who decides to get there together after HS. Athletics day. Signed up for the 100 meters and 200 meter sprints. Got impatient with the call on it, so I took the long distance running that I didn't prepare for. Ended up coming last place with a huge cramp on my calf. Also, I didn't eat, nor stretch when I took the long distance running, which led to a huge cramp. Quite embarrassing in front of the whole school too, but if I was to do it today, I would have prepared, and I would have smashed it. Not dating the out of Terry. She was smoking, she was smart, and for some unknown reason she seemed to like me. But she was just so quiet. I doubt we would have ended up married. And we left HS on good terms and remain friends. But I feel like we connected. And it would have been great to have known her even better. She's a mom now. Married to a guy I like. I'm a dad married to an awesome woman. Terry, I hope life is treating you as well as you deserve. Letting myself look at the entire grade through the lens of in-groups and out-groups. There was a hierarchy of kids, as well as groups. I didn't question it. I stayed in my lane. To this day, I constantly think about how much more fun I would have had if I didn't limit myself to a defined group of friends, especially girlfriends. Looking back, some of the sweetest, brightest and best-looking girls were a bit nerdy, too nerdy for this guy who was trying to be cool. My loss. I am going to have to say nothing. I have no regrets, and I say that because everything I have gone through on life, including high school, which was no picnic, has gotten me to where I am today. I have a job where I made 6 figures last year and have potential for this year as well. I have a loving wife and son, we have a house, and I have a brand new truck. I can't complain, and again the lessons of the past I use as learning tools for the future. Being so shy in my freshman and sophomore year, I didn't really open up until late sophomore year. I was terrified of girls mostly because I didn't want to be rejected, so I'd put myself in the friend zone after I got crushed a few times and learned from it. It was much easier to get girls. I also regret not playing sports. I played pretty much everything up until high school, then I got a job and money was more important. Get out of your comfort zone. Go to that party. Talk to that girl/guy. Fall in love. Get your heart broken. Make friends. Lose friends. Break your arm. Get a black eye. Experience life. Enjoy the last few years of freedom even though it might not feel like it at the time. Just do it. Because before you know it, it's over. And life begins. And of course, do it all responsibility, don't be an idiot. Not paying attention to the signs/cues that there were a lot of really nice girls that had a crush on me. I was shy and somewhat reserved through school and just didn't pay attention. I think my life would be way different than it is if I had. Not to have with them or anything exactly, just some specific girls I found out years later really had a crush on me that I thought I was way too far out of their league to even try. Taking myself way too seriously. Reading The Stranger at age 14 doesn't make you an intellectual. It made me a target for bullies, and a lot of genuinely cool people didn't bother being friends with me because I seemed like I didn't know how to have fun. Spoiler, I didn't. I was always so annoyed at how shallow and unserious the other kids seemed to me. Lordy, does this make my cringe thinking of it. It was like I had no idea what being a teenager really was. I'm lucky that my worst regret from high school was not trying to be friends with my crush. I had well and truly given up on ever being close to her, which was the right choice in terms of romantic interest, but I sincerely wish I had pushed through my anxiety so that I could see her happier than she was back then. As is, the most I can do is wish her well to the open air and know that I miss seeing her. I honestly was raised by a single mom, and she gave up a lot for me to go to prom. It was horrible. The girl I went with left early because she wasn't a late-night person. We couldn't drink, and most of the guys sat around basically talking by the dance floor. Maybe, just my experience, but I wish I wouldn't have gone and allowed my mom to keep her cash or just gone a trip with my friends instead. Me and this guy got into a fight. I busted his lip and he hit me in the head with something. I gotten a scar from it. The next day, my dad confronted me about the fight and sees that I have a scar. He thought I was being bullied, but I wasn't. He went to the local park to confront him while my other peers was present. It was so embarrassing. But I was also afraid of my dad for some reason and I couldn't tell him otherwise. I should have stopped him. I replay that day a lot in my head. I have a lot TBH, and I've already mentioned prom here, so I'll go with how I treated people. I was phobic, racist, etc., and I know I said or did things, from jokes like women should be in the kitchen to panicking when a gay guy hit on me. I know it's been 10 years since high school and a lot of people probably have forgotten or don't remember, but I constantly think of how that might be people's impression of me still. Not taking the ugly girl to prom. We were friends and there was no way anyone was ever going to ask this girl out on a date, yet alone prom. I could have asked her and had a nice time. Instead I took a hot-looking idiot who spent the whole night talking about herself. It was a waste of time and money. Better yet is the tradition nowadays where groups of friends all go together. Reduces the angst factor and the pressure to pair off. Not being friends with that one really nice and smart girl because I was intimidated by her group. I'm a guy. She's a really good person and I'm sure she'll be prime minister one day and she'll do a good job. She's one of the very few people I respect. Also, letting bull of a couple of friends slide. High school was over 3 months ago and since then they didn't give a. Time will tell, but one thing I won't definitely regret is being close with my current best friend and his family. I'm in my first year of high school RN and reading the comments made me think a lot more of how to develop my social skills, cause I'm not really a social person and a lot of people in the comments are saying that they wish they were more social while in high school. I usually am just quiet reading a book in the CL and a lot of people told me I'm a nerd, and I don't mind that TBH. I guess I'm kinda scared of the future if I don't make any friends RN, definitely learn how to talk to all kinds of people. It can be a lot of anxiety, but the more you do it, the easier it becomes. Learning how to be comfortable in your own skin now will pay dividends in the future. Going to an easier trades-focused HS instead of going to a normal high school. My parents pushed me towards it cause they thought I wasn't a good learner. I feel like I missed out on so much in terms of social life, education development, never took physics or calc and now it's making it hard to get into higher education programs as an adult, so I'll have to upgrade at some point. I think I would have had a better idea of what to do for a job if I'd gone to a normal HS. When I was in high school there were only like 5 or 6 out gay guys in a school of 3,000 kids. Still though, if I had been able to come out earlier it would have saved me so much trouble. I was miserable for 4 years of high school and 4 years of college putting on an act, pretending to like girls, having to deal with getting dates to all the formal dances, not getting to have genuine relationships, etc. etc. Not having the courage to ask out Jessica from homeroom. She did some modeling in middle school for a clothing catalog and I thought she was way out of my league. Fast forward 20 years and been on TV several times and had my face places, and I feel like people view me differently now because of it and find me unapproachable when they find out. I think maybe that's how she felt. I should have just gone for it. Can I say I have no regrets about high school? I won an award for having the most school activities, was the lead drummer in the band, had a beautiful girlfriend, was liked across groups of people, got great grades, my teachers liked me, I had solid friendships, and I basically loved everything about high school. And sadly, I was absolutely that guy who peaked in high school. My only regret about high school is that whatever magic that time possessed just did not persist long enough. Not punch George Z and his toucaning nose in the library my junior year. It sounds petty but I wish I had done it. Dude was an N-led, fat, ugly piece of that chose me to pick on. I didn't want to be part of that group of friends. I just wanted to be respected. That day in the library he was in my face, begging for it. Had I just done it, I would have knocked him the out. Most likely saving others from having to deal with his nonsense for years to come. Telling my crush not to call me after he told me for no reason I could put my number in his planner after other PPL he talked to put theirs in his. I just heard my friend say that cause her stepmom is psycho. I sat next to him for a while but was always way too nervous to talk to him. He always initiated, so when he said that to me and I heard her I just stupidly said the same thing. What a dumb I was, rolling eyes face. I immediately regretted it and was too scared to tell him otherwise. Should have not studied too much for college that I eventually ended up dropping out of at 22. My parents sent me to SAT boot camp, yup that's what we call it here, to spend countless hours and money for something that matters so little. I'm back in school now at 29 and everything I did in high school matters none. Still glad I chose to enjoy the band geek life though. Had a solid sense of community in band. I was too focused on school and being a good kid. I didn't foster as many friendships as I should have. I missed out on a lot of experiences. Now I'm an adult with one good friend and a few I never talk to, and no idea how to have a social life because I spent my time being angry, volunteering at the food bank, or being at church youth group. I'm no longer a Christian, and I'm so lonely but I don't know how to meet people. Don't. It's like hating a previous relationship, it's hating a part of you. By others' subjective standards I did better or worse or could have done X, Y, Z differently or understand this or that. But I wouldn't be who I am today and regretting what I didn't understand, do or whatever isn't going to help me now. However, relationships. I would have burned down and through more relationships, personal relationships. To practice for adult land. Them soft skills are important. Athletically, not stealing third base in the quarterfinals when I had a really good shot too. To be fair, it wouldn't have made a huge difference I don't think. We just didn't play our best the whole game. It sucked because it was my senior year and I really wanted to repeat as champions to go out on the highest note, but it just wasn't meant to be. Academically, just taking it more seriously, as corny as it is, I should have applied myself more. That I didn't wrestle when I clearly had the talent for it. Even the coach told me I should have because I was out wrestling guys on the team, but I was too nervous about the tie attire and worried that my parents wouldn't provide transportation for me. I always regret the fact that I didn't get more into sports in high school, period. I also regret not going on the field trips and never getting my yearbooks. Only time I wrestled in high school was when I drank 6 packs of cold shots in under an hour. It was wrestling fuel. Unfortunately, a lot of other people at parties did not see it that way except my buddy who was a wrestler. Do they even make cold shots anymore? Trying harder. I was a lazy little in high school. My grades were terrible. I had to repeat my senior because of it. All I wanted to do was skate, play guitar and play video games. Everyone told me to buckle down and get my together. But I didn't listen. So while all my friends were having fun at college, I was at home still trying to graduate high school. It was probably one of the loneliest times of my life.